Let's check in with the leaders this morning. As I said, Kevin Rudd in Sydney to address the Lowy Institute at 9 a.m, a bit after 9 this morning. We'll bring that to you in AM Agenda. Tony Abbott's in Newcastle, and we'll check in with Laura Jays in a moment. First of all, here's Tom Connell on the Rudd campaign.
Kevin Rudd spends his second consecutive day on the hustings here in Sydney, and he'll start the day with a speech at the Lowy Institute. That means a focus on foreign affairs, considered a strength of the Prime Minister's, if not a key issue during this election campaign. As for the rest of his day, well, he did spend yesterday in Sydney without going to the key battleground of Western Sydney, so that's a distinct possibility today. Also possibly heading north to the Central Coast. Unlikely to visit, of course, that controversial seat of Dobell, held by the scandal-plagued former Labor MP Craig Thomson, but perhaps just north of Sydney to the seat of Robertson. It's held by Deb O'Neill. She was one of several MPs to shift her support from Julia Gillard to Kevin Rudd, and she holds that seat by just 1%, so she needs every bit of help she can get in that battle. Tom Connell, Sky News, on the Kevin Rudd campaign, Sydney.
And from the Rudd campaign, let's check in with Tony Abbott's campaign, and joining us live from Newcastle this morning, Laura Jays. What's on the agenda, Laura?
Good morning, Kieran. Well, it will be another early morning for Tony Abbott today. He is in Newcastle and he'll be meeting Australian victims of terrorism. He'll be announcing some retrospective legislation that he'll commit to introducing into Parliament within his first 100 days. And this will be retrospective compensation for any Australian victims of terrorism caught up in those incidents like September 11, the London, the Bali bombings, Mumbai and Jakarta. He'll be meeting with victims here in Newcastle today as well. And what this compensation will provide is a maximum amount of up to $75,000, and he's costed this at costing a government around $30 million. Now, this is something that Tony Abbott has announced in the past and builds on what the government introduced in 2012. That announcement to come later this morning, Kieran.